This is Eagle Owl, and today I will be talking about us beating the Cowboys. Hard fought game, but at the end of the day, winners win and losers lose. And we're just going to talk about everything that happened, but let's get straight into it. All right, man, let's get into it. We did what we were supposed to do this game. What we had to do was win it. You got to win this game. But it did come out to a shootout, very entertaining game. The defense, I believe, for both teams were a little off, to be honest. You know, Michael Parsons did his thing. I like how they moved him around. They didn't line him up with Lane Johnson. They lined him up with other guys. That's cool. Penalties on both sides were atrocious. The refs were reffing for sure. Almost cost us the game. Shit. Oh, well, excuse my language, but you know, the Cowboys would say it. I think our running game definitely was better than theirs. I believe we got that edge against them. But to me, the main reason why we won the game and they lost the game, honestly, we've been better in the red zone lately. Like, we've been better. We was 3 down. If you was going to take a risk like that, you should have did it first or second down to catch them off guard. But you decided to do it on the 3rd and 3, 3rd down. You was better off running it, getting about a yard or two, then brotherly shove it, and then we could have won the game. But you want to catch a team off guard with that. But anyway, again, this was a very even matchup. But to me, it came down to the red zone. Our quarterback came up more clutch than theirs. You know, statistically, people were like, Dak, but Dak threw the ball like 43 times. So he better have some good stats. But at the end of the day, they couldn't get in the end zone. Michael Gallup had some drops. I don't believe we had key drops like that. So they had miscues and red zone issues. That's the reason why they lost, and we won. We didn't turn the ball over. Almost did. And we didn't turn the ball over. So let's talk about the positives. The positives, that's just my summary of the game. But the positives of this game, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is tough as nails. If you look up the definition of tough, I believe Jalen Hurts' face should be there as a picture example because, man, you get hit in your hurt knee. And not only that, you get slammed by Michael Parsons at the end. I'm like, oh, man. And then I start thinking like, man, he should have probably just sat this game. You know, even if we lose, we technically still in first place. But nah, Jalen Hurts walked to the sideline. He went in the locker room a little earlier. Nick Sirianni said they gave him an IV. Once he got the IV, honestly, looked good to go. And would make it ballsy about what Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, and those guys called. They called the RPO run. Everybody just assumed the running back had the ball. Jalen Hurts scrambled out for like the first down. I believe it was like 3-4 yards. Like, that was a ballsy move, knowing that your quarterback knee, quote unquote, is hurt, but you still decide to run it a couple times. So his legs were a little effective this game, even with a banged up knee. I got to give him props. Definitely got to give him props. Kenny G, got to give him props. For the limited snaps he had, he was phenomenal. Hell, all the running backs were phenomenal. I got to give Penny some love because when he came in, he did his thing. DeAndre Swift, besides the fumble, he did his thing. Yeah, the running game was just on point. All the running backs, which I thought was going to be the 3 going into the season, was, well, I thought Kenny G was going to start, but DeAndre Swift, Kenny G, and Penny, I like that 3. I really like that 3. You know, they use DeAndre Swift majority of the time. That's what you're supposed to do. You sprinkle in Kenny G. And you see, when you sprinkle him in instead of trying to make him the feature back, he's pretty solid. And then you sprinkle in a little Penny. Penny is a big, solid guy. I wish they would have used him in the red zone a little more, but can't argue with the 3 for 3 in the red zone. All right. So that's the positive. The offense in general, Tyler Steen with the fumble recovery, not just that, he was phenomenal. You know, your first game starting, you're going up against the Cowboys. He held up his own because I believe the sack was given up against I think it was Dickerson with Micah Parsons, and then he got a one-on-one matchup with Jason Kelsey. So other than that, man, the offensive line was good. The offensive line was phenomenal. Other than the stats, of course, but at some points of the game, I felt like Jalen Hurts was holding the ball a little too long. So again, the offensive line held up their own. Offense was great, man. Was awesome. Defense, same story. Defensive line showed up towards the end of the game because I got to give Dallas Cowboys credit. They offensive line held up better than what I expected, but that's when I'm like, Sean Desai got to bring a blitz, and then the few times he did bring a blitz, when he brought the Kobe Dean, we did get a sack, but man, you couldn't hold that defensive line for too long because I think Jalen Carter ended up leaving with a half a sack. Brandon Graham got a sack and a half. Josh Sweat a sack, and I believe Hassan Reddick got a sack earlier in the game. Hassan Reddick was getting pressure a lot. So, but all in all, man, they offensive line held up for sure. Some was just Dak Prescott because there was a couple times Josh Sweat got there, Hassan Reddick got there, but Dak Prescott was elusive, was able to break the tackle. And yeah, man, the defensive line was great. Now, let's talk about the negatives this game. Let's talk about it, man. Offensive side of the ball, it wasn't too many negatives, but when it was crunch time, and I brought this up, that 3rd and freaking 3, you decide to go idea, and Brian Johnson was calling the game like he was doing this thing. I like the plays he was calling. He got Dallas Goedert involved before he got hurt. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, he let Devontae Smith one-on-one get his one-on-ones off with Bland. We know the Devontae Smith owned Bland, so yeah, that. But man, the fourth quarters, man, situational football. I don't know what Brian Johnson came up with, or Nick Sirianni, either one. I don't care. Like, yo, you got to close out that game. You're supposed to close it out and not go deep on the 3rd and 3. But the offensive side of the ball, man, was the play calling. I think we won despite the play calling at the end of the game. On both sides, offense and defensive coordinators. Now let's just get to the defensive side of the ball. I mean, the linebackers look mediocre a bit. And look, prayers up for Kobe Dean, right? But I gotta keep it a buck. When Kobe Dean left the game with his foot injury, I mean, you are a liar if you say the linebacker core did not look better. It looked slightly better, but it looked better with Morrow and Zach Cunningham. Got to keep it a buck. But that back end, man, I don't know who to blame. Is it Sean Desai or is it the players? Because I'm looking like you brought in a Kevin Byard, but you got him looking pedestrian. James Bradbury, all pro, looking pedestrian. Slay looking pedestrian. I mean, Sidney Brown and Eli Ricks are rookies, and they lined up against CD Lamb most of the game. So come on, that was just not fair at all. But man, if you got in those guys in your secondary, and he was a defensive back coach, and they look that bad, I gotta blame the play calling. Yeah, we keep going in on Slay and Bradbury and these dudes. You even brought in another guy from Tennessee. It still look bad. It's something going on with the play calling. I have to believe that at some point. I have to believe that. Because he definitely, Sean Desai played the bend, don't break, because give the defense a little credit. Dallas Cowboys scored 17 points in the first half. They only scored 6 in the second. 17 points in the first half, only 6 in the second. But Cowboys was going up and down that field, but they wasn't getting touchdowns, which I don't like the bend don't break. Come on, man. Sean Desai, you promised us physicality, not this Jonathan Gannon 2.0 stuff. But that secondary, man, they gotta clean it up. They gotta clean whatever they got going on up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Is it the players? Is it the coaching? But when you look at the players' track record, I gotta say it's the coaching, man. Definitely gotta say that. Special teams really nothing to harp on. You know, we didn't really do any kick returns. I believe what Penny did when he let the ball go out of bounds, that was a smart play, I guess. But the special teams, you know, it's really nothing to harp on. I believe Brandon Mann is showing that he's really, really good. I know we let Turpin basically break one, and it wasn't for a touchdown, but it was for a big game. But other than that, special teams is really nothing to harp on. You know, Jake Elliott made all his kicks. Brandon Mann punted really, really well. But yeah, that's all the negatives I really have to say. Really nothing on offense. Offense showed out. Defense got some work to do in that secondary. But at the end of the day, still, they only allowed 6 points in that second half, believe it or not. Yeah, we gonna hear the Dak Prescott stats and this and that, but he couldn't get in the end zone 2 times in the second half for his team to win. So it's my opinion. We got too laissez-faire, too relaxed. These dudes almost came back and won, but at the end of the day, Sean Desai held those dudes to 6 points. That's all I gotta say about that. I guess lastly, far as Bass, injuries. Dallas Goedert. So I just got this in. Dallas Goedert has a fractured forearm. And I think that hit was so dirty, man. I'm sorry. And it's something about these division games, right? Because last year it was a dirty hit with the Commanders, and this year it's a dirty hit with the Cowboys. Now we talking about a guy in Dallas Goedert who's going to have to at least miss the next 4 games, including the bye. He got to go on IR, you know, to at least let it heal up for the next month, 4 to 5 weeks. Dallas Goedert has to go on IR in these 4 to 5 weeks. Who do we play? Kansas City, Bills. I believe the Cowboys in there somewhere again. The San Francisco 49ers. Then when he come back, that's when we playing what, like the Giants, the Cardinals, the Giants, or something like that. So it's like, man, there's some BS, man. That was some BS by that player, bro. He deserved to get fined his whole salary, bro. Like, he needed suspension, man. I'm sorry. That was a dirty hit. He need to be suspended, bro. You don't hold on to a guy. You know what? It's football. It is what it is. It is football. Maybe my emotions is talking right now because that's some BS. That was some BS. And Dallas Goedert was about to have one of those games. He was about to go bananas on y'all. But, you know, dirty hits are dirty hits. Nakobe Dean with the foot injury. I mean, 3rd time this year, man. What can I say? What can I say? Walk like a duck, quack like a duck. More than likely it is. And what do I mean by that? This might be injury prone, man. He might be injury prone, man. But, hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the game today? I know it's probably a lot I missed. I'm just going off my initial reaction, stuff I can remember off the top of my head. But this is Eagle Owl, man.